How do you capture your brilliant moments? Squeeze is the easy way. Squeeze to share the best you. Immerse yourself in music adapted to you, where outside noises fade away. Squeeze for the adventurous you. Squeeze to immortalize the moment. Record sound in 360 degrees for you to zoom in on. Squeeze and do what no other phone lets you. HTC U11.
This is the HTC U11, the company's new spring flagship designed to compete against the likes of Samsung's Galaxy S8 and the LG G6. With a bold new look that's a big departure from the HTC 10, does the U11 have what it takes to compete against these heavyweights? I'm Stephen Shank with Phone Arena. My full U11 review will be coming soon, but for now, let's get started with a quick unboxing. This is the HTC U11. Now this is going to be a bit of a special unboxing for me, as I just got back from Taiwan touring HTC's factory where I saw the U11 assembled and put into boxes just like this one. Now it's time to run that process in reverse and show you what to expect when taking this phone home. Before we open the box up, let's take a quick look at the back here. We have an overview of the phone's specs, like a 5.5-inch Quad HD display, Snapdragon 835 processor, the current top-of-the-line chip, and IP67 water resistance, a really nice feature to see on an HTC flagship. We also have the 12-megapixel ultra-pixel camera, which I initially had some reservations about, but early sample pics are making look pretty promising. Let's hurry up and pop this guy open here with no further ado. Nice, simple, eco-friendly packaging from HTC. We have the phone's quick charge 3.0 adapter. Let's see, USB Type-C charging cable. The new U-Sonic headphones. These look a lot like the headphones we saw on the U Ultra, or even last year's phones like the Bolt. But this has a new special feature. By tapping into the U11's power, this has active noise cancellation. Now, unfortunately, it only works when you're actually listening to music. You can't just have the noise cancellation going if you want some peace and quiet on your ride to work, but it's still a nice feature that we really don't see from any other phones out there. It could be a big selling point for the U11. Those accessories are well and good, but let's take a look at the phone itself here. See, right away, HTC is telling us about one of the phone's interesting features, the Edge Sense. This is a series of pressure sensors running up and down the screen that, instead of having a physical button, let you squeeze the phone to trigger software effects like toggling phone settings or quick launching apps. Let's get this protective coating off here, though, so we can actually get into... I saw them put this thing together, but it's a lot more difficult to take off than you might think, even knowing how the process comes all together. There we go. Now this is never going to look as nice and shiny as it does now. Look at that mirror finish. So this is the phone's amazing silver. It's kind of blue looking. In the right light, it's also kind of purple. And it might be really hard to see over the camera how this looks in real life. It's just catching every facet of light. It would have been great to show you this in the solar red or the white, but unfortunately those colors weren't available when we checked this guy out. Let's go ahead and power this on. Take a look at the rest of the packaging here. We're going to let this boot up. See what else we got in here. All right, IMEI stickers. No surprise there. You are going to get a nice little bonus of a case to come with the phone to help protect that nice shiny back panel. There we go. The back is Gorilla Glass 3, so it is going to be scratch resistant. If you want a little extra protection, you have a free clear case that comes with the phone. And you can pop that on if you so choose. We have our familiar HTC branded SIM tool. Oh, that's what it's for, using to open the SIM slot. Who knew? As well as a cleaning cloth. I love it when you get a cleaning cloth with phones, especially with this shiny back. This is going to get fingerprints on it mighty quick. It's always nice to have to clean it up. And this, I've been waiting for this for so long. So the U Ultra didn't have it, the Bolt didn't have it. You could send away for it with the Bolt, but it wasn't in the box. HTC is finally including a 3.5mm to USB Type-C adapter. This phone does not have a built-in USB or built-in 3.5mm headphone jack. If you want to use analog headphones, you're going to have to carry around this adapter. Now you're probably going to just want to use the U-Sonic one, so you have the noise cancellation, but if you do have an older pair that you love, this is critical to have. All right, let's go ahead and get this guy set up. It's in Taiwanese, so this may take me a minute here. Oh, English, that was super easy. Of course, when you get this phone in the States, it will automatically be pre-configured to English here. This is an early unit, we had to get Taiwan, but we knew we wanted to show you this as soon as possible, so we didn't want to wait any longer than we had to. We'll go ahead and set this guy up. All right, we've got our Wi-Fi set up, our initial Android configuration taken care of, and we're into the HTC's interface here. We're gonna spend a lot of time looking at Sense, Blink Feed, all that good stuff as we go through the full review of the phone. But even as early hands-on, I have to play around with Edge Sense and show you. So we're getting Edge Sense set up. This is the new squeeze control for the phone. So it can detect lots of different levels of pressure here. Different users are going to hold their phone differently. They're going to squeeze it, harder or lighter depending on their preferences and just hand size and different, physicality. So it's going to test what we think is a comfortable level of squeeze here. And there we go, sort of averaged out our inputs here and found a nice, I'm on the lower end of the scale here. I don't want to crush the phone. Here, you can do a test. You might have seen this in some of our early hands-on previews of the phone. Nice little interface to just teach you how Edge Sense works. You give it a little squeeze and release. Actually, this is a little firmer than I might like. I'm going to try reconfiguring this for a little lighter squeeze. I think I did exactly the same, but okay, that's fine. I can live with it. All right, and showing us what's configured to this action. So it defaults to quick launching the camera. You can do that right from when the phone's locked. So give it a squeeze here. And right into the camera. I did have a lock screen on there, so it took a second to get past, and here, even after it's launched, we can squeeze it again. So take a pick, heard that click there. That's very, very cool. All right, we're gonna spend more time with the software for the full review. For now, I just want to give you one more comparison here, checking out how the HTC, how this silver, bluish silver looks compared to another blue silver phone I recently reviewed, the LG G6. And that is a big difference in the finish there. It can be hard to see in this light, but HTC's is just a lot bluer. I might say the LG G6 is silver with a hint of blue, but HTC is more like blue with a hint of silver. In the US, you're going to have your choice between this, the sapphire blue, or the phone in black. And the black is cool like green highlights. If you want the white or the red, you're going to have to get the phone internationally. For now, though, this has been a quick unboxing of the HTC U11. I'm Stephen Shank with Phone Arena. Be sure to stay tuned for the full HTC U11 review coming up real soon.
Hey, what is up guys, MKBHD here, and this phone is already Comeback Player of the Year for HTC for 2017. You already remember how poor of a use of space and money the U Ultra was just a couple months ago. Well, less than 6 months later, we get this at a very similar price, and it's the U11. So from the outside, you might not see that much of a difference. Same shiny blue body, same thick, rounded design, same lack of a headphone jack. It seems, at first glance, really similar, because it is. But as far as packing features and specs into this phone, they cleaned up real nice. So to run right down the spec sheet, you have Android 7.1.1 with the same HTC software on top. It's a Snapdragon 835 with the Adreno 540, 4 gigs of RAM, a 3000 milliamp hour battery, a 5.5 inch Quad HD display, 64 gigs of storage, expandable via micro SD, and a 12 megapixel f1.7 camera with OIS. Now specs aren't everything, they don't tell the whole story, but here they do a pretty good job. And if we head down that spec list again, besides just of course the very impressive numbers, this phone gets a lot of things right. So with Android, it's already on the latest version, later than most phones, it's 7.1.1, so that's a good sign, and hopefully it gets updates. Plus it has all the same features HTC has decided to add on top of Android. The Snapdragon 835 chipset we already know has been awesome in other phones, plus 4 gigs of RAM, so we're expecting and getting top-notch performance here, best in class. and it's absolutely one of the smoothest and most responsive Android phones out there right now. I'm just a little less confident with that full-time smoothness lasting as long as something like from a stock Android phone, but I'm still very impressed with how HTC's animations just glide for the most part. They use really short, simple animations, and that's what you want to see. This thing flies. It's got a 3000 milliamp hour battery. Not the biggest number in the world, but we're seeing this thing outperform phones with bigger cells and last comfortably all day thanks to optimization. And that's super impressive considering the display. And that display is a 5.5-inch 1440p LCD display that gets pretty bright. It's definitely not the brightest and it can struggle outdoors, so I admit that. But still, high pixel density and great colors anytime you're not outside is gonna get a thumbs up there. Storage is all there, 64 gigs right out the box with a micro SD card slot, and the camera has been absolutely killing it. It's a 12 megapixel sensor, big wide open f1.7 aperture, and optical image stabilization really matters and helps it a lot in low light. Plus it has that same Snapdragon 835 as the OnePlus 5, so it's doing auto instant HDR, and this thing has been taking some killer shots. So HTC can stop right there. They've already wiped the floor with their previous phone. There's pretty much no reason to buy the U Ultra anymore, but I haven't even gotten to the headlining feature of this phone. So the main major headlining feature of the U11 is a custom shortcut that's mapped to squeezing the phone. It's called Edge Sense. So this is for real. So instead of a custom button like an extra key or an edge display feature or anything like that, HTC has crammed pressure sensors into the sides of this phone, specifically in the lower half on both sides. So you can squeeze the phone to launch any app of your choice. It can be the assistant or the camera or your Instagram or whatever you want really. Or you can have squeeze to take screenshots or toggle the flashlight or instantly start a voice recording or turn Wi-Fi hotspot on. So it's completely custom. It can do a lot of things. The question is, squeezing it, is that a gimmick or is that legit? Well, I think that all really will depend on how your hands wrap around this phone and how natural you think it feels to just squeeze the phone in the middle of using it. It can be kind of a weird thing depending on the way you hold the phone to squeeze it to launch something, maybe a bit unnatural. The phone doesn't flex at all, it's metal, but HTC actually does let you calibrate how hard you want to have to squeeze before it activates Edge Sense. So there's 10 different pressure levels. So naturally you'd think you'd want to set it as low as possible so you don't have to grip the phone super hard just to launch something. But the thing is, if you set the squeeze value too low, you can actually accidentally start triggering it when you're just picking up the phone off a table. I had it happen to me a couple times. It can be too sensitive, or even sometimes when you're just pulling it out of your pocket. It's not the end of the world, but it still does launch that stuff accidentally. But if you set the squeeze level too high, then you need like a two-handed vice grip on the phone just to squeeze it hard enough to trigger it, and that's not natural at all. So you kind of have to have it somewhere in the middle, gotta make sure you calibrate it right. I found it best at around level 4 or 5. And I also tried a bunch of different grips. Not everyone holds the phone the same way, but basically if you do squeeze just one side of the phone, that will activate it too. So you can squeeze one side or the other on the lower half. That'll be fine. So while it was definitely weird at first for me to squeeze the phone instead of just pressing a custom button or launching my app, it did pretty quickly get pretty easy with that mid-level squeeze pressure. The more I got into it, the more I got used to it. You can enable advanced mode, which lets you set different shortcuts to a quick squeeze versus a long squeeze, kind of like a single press versus a long press if it was a button. And you can really dig down and customize a whole lot of functionality just in squeezing this phone. So if you're into it, this phone is already a pretty complete package, and then you add the squeeze feature on top of all of that, and it becomes really interesting. I would buy and use this phone if I was more of a fan of HTC software, but I'm not. I'm more of a pure Android person, but it's not perfect. This phone is definitely not perfect. There's still no headphone jack. That's still a poor use of space. It's still super shiny and very reflective, and I think the anodized matte blue look around the edges would have looked way hotter for the entire back of the phone, but we still have this mirror. And the fingerprint reader is still annoyingly small, and the bezels are still annoyingly big, so it's not perfect. But this is a way better phone than 6 months ago, and I think they have the right idea, trying to do something new with interaction, but still trying to make it feel somewhat natural, kind of just in the grip of while you're using the phone every day. But that'll of course all depend on whether you guys buy this phone or not, and what you guys think. So let me know what you think. Is this whole squeeze thing a gimmick? Will it be dead in a year? Or is it the next big thing? Is it gonna catch on? Your guess is as good as mine, but feel free to leave a comment below and then come back to it in a year and see if you're right or not. So that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.